there, Year 6. Really sorry again that we can't be in school, but let's continue with our Kensuke's Kingdom story. Let's look at the next part of the chapter. I'll read it through, and then like we did yesterday, you'll be able to answer the questions step by step before emailing them through. The next morning, we began building a beacon on the hilltop above the cave house. We used most of a pile of firewood we had collected for the cooking fire and stored it in the dry at the back of the cave. He even sacrificed some of his best pieces of driftwood. It wasn't far to carry it, so before long we had enough to make a sizable fire. Kensuke said it would do for the moment, that we could find more from the forest, more and more each day as we wanted. We soon have fire so big they see in Japan maybe, he laughed. We have lunch now, then sleep, then football, yes? Later that afternoon we set up sticks in the sand for a goal and took turns at shooting each other. The ball was very soft, and so it didn't bounce any better on the sand than it had back on the mud of the recreation ground back home. But it didn't matter. Kensuke may have carried a stick, he may have been as old as the hills, but he could kick a football well enough to put it past me, and often too. What a time we had! Neither of us wanted it to end. With a crowd of bemused orangutans looking on, with Stella interfering and chasing after every goal scored, we were at it till darkness drove us at last back up the hill. We were both too tired to do more than have a long drink of water, eat a banana or two, and go to our sleeping mats. It was after our reconciliation that I came to know Kensuke better than I had ever before. His English became more and more fluent, and he clearly loved to speak it now. For some reason he was always more happy to talk while we were out fishing in his outrigger. We did not go out that often, only when the fishing was so poor in the shallows that we needed to catch big fish for smoking and keeping. Once at sea, the stories simply flowed. He talked a great deal of his childhood in Japan, of his twin sister, and how the worst thing he'd ever done was to push her out of a tree in their garden. How she'd broken her arm, how then he'd painted that cherry tree. It always reminded him of her. But she too had been in Nagasaki when the bomb fell. I remember he even told me the address of where he lived when he was studying in London. Number 22, Clanricarde Gardens. I have never forgotten it. Once he had gone to watch Chelsea play football, and afterwards he'd sat astride a lion in Trafalgar Square and been ticked off by a policeman. But it was Kimmy and Mickey he talked of most, about how he wished he could have seen Mickey grow up. Mickey, he said, would have been nearly 50 by now if a bomb hadn't fallen on Nagasaki, and Kimmy would be exactly the same age as he was, 75. I rarely interrupted him when he was like this, but once to comfort him I did say, bombs don't kill everyone. They could still be alive. You never know. You could find out. You could go home. He looked at me then as if it was the first time such a possibility had ever occurred to him in all those years. Why not? I went on. When we see a ship, when we light the fire and they come and fetch me, you could come too. You could go back to Japan. You don't have to stay here. He thought about it for some time, but then shook his head. No, he said. They are dead. That bomb was very big bomb, very terrible bomb. Americans say Nagasaki's destroyed every house. I hear them. My family dead for sure. I stay here. I safe here. I stay on my island. Day after day we piled more and more wood on the beacon. It was massive now, bigger even than the one I had built on Watch Hill. Every morning now, before we went down to the pool to wash, Kensuke would send me up to the top of the hill with his binoculars. I always scanned the horizon, both in hope and in trepidation. I longed to see a ship. Of course I did. I longed to go home. But at the same time I dreaded what that would mean. I felt so much more at home with Kensuke. The thought of leaving him filled me with a terrible sadness. I determined to do all I could to persuade him to come away with me, if and when a ship came. At every opportunity now I talked to him of the outside world, and the more I talked, the more he seemed to become interested. Of course I never spoke of the wars and famines and disasters. I painted the best picture of the world outside I could. There was so much he didn't know. He marvelled at all I told him, at the microwave in our kitchen, at computers, and what they could do, at Concorde flying faster than the speed of sound, at men going to the moon and satellites. These things took some explaining, I can tell you. Some of it he didn't even believe, not at first. The time came when he began to quiz me. In particular, he would ask about Japan, but I knew very little about Japan. Only that back home in England, lots of things, including our microwave, had made in Japan written on them. Cars, calculators, my father's stereo, my mother's hairdryer. I'm made in Japan person, he laughed. Very old machine, still good, still very strong. Try as I did to troll my memory, after a while I could find nothing more to tell him about Japan, but he would still keep asking, "You sure there's no war in Japan these days?" I was fairly certain there wasn't, and said so. They build up Nagasaki again after bomb? I told him they had, and hoped I was right. All I could do was reassure him as best I could, and then tell him the same few things I did know about, over and over again. He seemed to love to hear it, like a child listening to a favourite fairy story. Once, after I'd finished expounding yet again on the amazing sound quality of my father's brilliant Sony stereo that made the whole house vibrate, he said very quietly, "Maybe one day, before I die, I go back to my home. One day I go back to Japan. Maybe." I wasn't sure he meant it, but it did mean that he was at least considering it, and that gave me some cause for hope. It wasn't until the night of the turtles, though, that I came to believe Kensuke was really serious about it. I was fast asleep when he woke me. "You come, Mickerson. Very quickly, you come. You come," he said. "What for?" I asked, but he was already gone. I ran out after him into the moonlight and caught him up halfway down the track. "What are we doing? Where are we going? Is it a boat?" "Very soon, you see, very soon." Stella stayed at my heels all the way to the beach. She never liked going out in the dark very much. I looked around. There was nothing there. The beach looked completely deserted. The waves lapped listlessly. The moon rode the clouds, and the world felt still about me, as if it was holding its breath. I did not see what was happening until Kensuke suddenly fell on his knees in the sand. "They're very small. Sometimes they are not so strong. Sometimes in the morning birds come and eat them." And then I saw it. I thought it was a crab at first. It wasn't. It was a minuscule turtle, tinier than a terrapin, clambering out of a hole in the sand and then beetling off down the beach towards the sea. Then another, and another. And further down the beach, dozens of them, hundreds I could see now, maybe thousands, all scuttling across the moonlit sand into the sea. Everywhere the beach was alive with them. Stella was nosing at them, so I warned her off. She yawned and looked innocently up at the moon. I saw that one of them was on its back at the bottom of the hole, legs kicking frantically. Kensuke reached down, picked it up gently, and set it on its feet in the sand. "You go to sea, little turtle," he said. "You live there now. You soon be big fine turtle, and then one day you come back and see me maybe." He sat back on his haunches to watch him scuttle off. "You know what they do, Mika? Mother turtles, they lay eggs in this place. Then one night time every year, always when moon is high, little turtles are born. Long way to go to sea. Many, very many die, so I always stay. I help them. I chase birds away, so they not eat baby turtles. Many years from now, when turtles are big, they come back. They lay eggs again. True story, Mickerson." All night long we kept our vigil over the mass berth. As the infant turtles made their run for it, we patrolled together, reaching into every hole we found, to see if there were any left, stuck or stranded. We found several too weak to make the journey, and carried them down into the sea ourselves. The sea seemed to revive them. Away they went, no swimming lessons needed. We turned dozens the right way up, and shepherded them safely into the sea. When dawn came and the birds came down to scavenge, we were there to drive them off. Stella chased and barked after them, and we ran at them, shrieking, waving, hurling stones. We were not entirely successful, but most of the turtles made it down into the sea. But even here they were still not entirely safe. In spite of our desperate efforts, a few were plucked up out of the water by the birds and carried off. By noon it was all over. Kensuke was tired as we stood ankle deep in the water, watching the very last of them swim away. He put his arm on my shoulder. They very small turtles, Mickerson, but they very brave. They braver than me. They do not know what they find out there, what happened to them, but they go anyway. Very brave. Maybe they teach me good lesson. I make up my mind. Then when one day ship come, and we light fire, and they find us, then I go. Like turtles, I go. I go with you. I go home to Japan. Maybe I find Kimi. Maybe I find Mikia. I find truth. I go with you, Mika-san. So, horse chestnuts, we've come to the end of the penultimate chapter. Only one more to go. Anyway, what I'd like you to do is look at the following questions and then answer them carefully before emailing them to me at the address that you can see clearly there. First of all, what did Michael and Kensuke do after building their fire? Look back on the text, check carefully, and let us know. Next, what does the term reconciliation mean? It's on page 37, and Michael used it to explain there was a reconciliation. Have a look, see what you think it means. It is a tricky word, but read the text, look at the context that he's used it in, and see if you can work it out. After that, where did Kensuke feel most comfortable talking to Michael? Again, it's very clearly in the text, so let us know. What was the worst thing Kensuke did to his twin sister? Check that text again. How old is Kensuke? And why won't Kensuke go home to Japan? What are his reasons? We've got a few more questions here, and you can see we need more evidence for these questions. So, for example, on page 139, name 3 items that Michael mentions that marvels Kensuke. So look through that text. I want 3 different items. On page 142, what is Michael talking about when he says, everywhere the beach was alive with them? Check the text. You may think you know the answer, but always go back and make sure you're confident enough. After that, name 2 problems a baby turtles face as they try to get from the sand to the water. Why was Michael and Kensuke there? What were they protecting the baby turtles from? What were they helping with? Finally, I'd like you to write down your prediction of what you think is going to happen in the next chapter. What's going to happen in this last chapter? Okay? As I've said time and again, please make sure you answer carefully and clearly, and then email your answers to me through the email address above. Thank you very much.